As Jamal walked home along the bustling street, he noticed an elderly couple sitting on a bench near the park entrance. The man, dressed in a worn coat, supported his wife, who leaned heavily on a cane. They appeared tired and hungry, their faces etched with the strain of the day. Jamal paused for a moment, observing how the woman clutched her stomach subtly, as if in discomfort. Without hesitation, Jamal approached them and offered his entire meal, explaining that he had just picked it up and thought they might need it more. The couple, surprised by the gesture, accepted the food gratefully. The man thanked Jamal profusely, mentioning that they had been waiting for a bus that was delayed and hadn't eaten since morning. Jamal smiled and insisted it was no trouble, then continued on his way home empty-handed. That evening, Jamal and his mother made do with what was left in their pantry, a simple sandwich each, while Jamal recounted the encounter without regret. The next morning, as Jamal prepared for school, a sleek black limousine pulled up outside their apartment. A well-dressed man emerged, accompanied by a driver, and knocked on their door. Jamal's mother, cautious at first, opened it slightly. The visitor introduced himself as Edward Harrington, a prominent businessman known for his real estate empire across the Midwest. He explained that he had witnessed Jamal's act of kindness the previous day from afar, as he happened to be in the area for a meeting. Edward revealed that the elderly couple were actually his parents, who had insisted on taking public transport that day to relive simpler times, despite his offers for a private ride. Touched by Jamal's selflessness, Edward had tracked down their address through local inquiries. He presented Jamal with an envelope containing a substantial check, enough to cover his education and more as a token of appreciation. From that day forward, Jamal's life took an unexpected turn toward opportunities he had never imagined. Jamal Thompson grew up in a community where acts of kindness were common, but rarely rewarded in such grand ways. His mother, Lisa Thompson, worked 2 jobs to keep their household afloat after Jamal's father passed away from illness when Jamal was 5. Lisa managed shifts at a diner during the day and cleaned offices in the evenings, leaving Jamal to fend for himself often. Despite the challenges, Jamal maintained good grades and participated in after-school programs at the community center. On that particular day, Jamal had saved up his allowance to buy the special meal from the diner as a surprise for his mother. The aroma from the bag tempted him the entire walk home, but when he saw the elderly couple, something compelled him to stop. The man, later identified as Robert Harrington, and his wife, Eleanor, had been married for over 50 years. They enjoyed occasional outings without the luxuries their son provided, believing it kept them grounded. Jamal's approach was straightforward. He said, "Excuse me, sir, ma'am. I see you're waiting here, and this food is fresh. Would you like it? I can get more later." Robert hesitated at first, but Eleanor's eyes lit up at the sight of the bag. She replied, "Young man, that's very kind of you. We haven't had a proper meal today." They exchanged a few words about the weather and the neighborhood before Jamal handed over the bag and waved goodbye. Back at home, Lisa listened to Jamal's story with a mix of pride and concern. She said, "Jamal, that was generous, but we need to eat too." Jamal shrugged and responded, "Mom, they look like they needed it more. We'll be fine." They shared a quiet meal, and the incident seemed like just another day in their lives. The following morning brought the surprise. The limousine's arrival drew curious glances from neighbors. Edward Harrington, in his mid-50s, built his fortune through smart investments starting from a small construction firm. He had always emphasized family values, and seeing Jamal's gesture reminded him of his own humble beginnings. At the door, Edward said, "I'm here because of what your son did yesterday. My parents were the couple on the bench. Your boy's heart is gold." Lisa invited him in, and Edward sat down to explain further. He handed Jamal a check for $50,000, saying, "This is for your future. Education, whatever you need." Jamal's eyes widened, but he managed to thank Edward politely. News of the event spread quickly through the neighborhood. Local reporters picked up the story after a neighbor tipped them off. Articles appeared in community papers, highlighting Jamal's compassion and the unexpected reward. Edward's involvement added a layer of intrigue, as he was known for philanthropy, but rarely in such personal ways. Jamal used part of the money to enroll in advanced classes at a better school nearby. His mother quit one job to spend more time with him. The Harrington family stayed in touch, inviting Jamal and Lisa to family gatherings. Robert and Eleanor often shared stories of their youth, inspiring Jamal to pursue community service. Years later, Jamal reflected on that day as a turning point. He pursued a degree in social work, aiming to help others in similar situations. Edward mentored him, providing advice on business and life. The story became a local legend, reminding everyone that small acts can lead to profound changes. Jamal's decision that afternoon stemmed from lessons his mother instilled in him. Lisa always said, "Help where you can, Jamal. It comes back." He never expected it to come back so directly. The elderly couple, Robert and Eleanor, had been out celebrating their anniversary quietly. They chose the bench to rest after a walk, not anticipating the bus delay. When Jamal offered the meal, Robert said, "Son, you're a good kid. What's your name?" Jamal replied, "Jamal Thompson, sir." Eleanor added, "God bless you, Jamal." They ate the food right there, savoring each bite. Edward, who had been in a nearby cafe wrapping up a call, saw the exchange through the window. He recognized his parents immediately and watched in admiration. After they finished, he approached them and they told him about Jamal. Edward decided then to find the boy. Tracking Jamal was simple. He asked around the diner, where staff knew Lisa and her son. The next day, he arrived with the check and a proposal for ongoing support. Lisa's reaction was one of disbelief at first. She said, "This can't be real." Edward assured her, showing identification and explaining his background. Jamal, overhearing, came to the living room and shook Edward's hand. The money changed their lives practically. They moved to a better apartment, and Jamal got tutoring for subjects he struggled with. He also started a small fund to help other kids in the neighborhood with school supplies. The media coverage brought more attention. A local TV station interviewed Jamal, where he said, "I just did what felt right." Edward appeared in some reports, praising Jamal's character. Over time, the bond between the families grew. Jamal visited the Harrington estate, learning about business. Robert taught him chess, and Eleanor shared recipes. Jamal's story inspired others. Kids in his school started a kindness club, performing similar acts. The community rallied around positive change. As Jamal entered high school, he excelled in academics and sports. The financial security allowed him to focus without worry. Lisa pursued her dream of opening a small catering business, using skills from the diner. Edward's involvement extended to scholarships. He set up a trust for Jamal's college education. Jamal chose to study at a university in Illinois, majoring in sociology. Reflecting back, Jamal often thought about that meal. It was a small sacrifice, but opened doors. He maintained contact with the Harringtons, visiting during holidays. The story of Jamal Thompson serves as a reminder that generosity can bridge worlds. From a simple act on a park bench to a lifelong connection with a millionaire, all began with giving up a meal. Jamal's daily routine before that day involved school, homework, and helping at home. He walked the same route every afternoon, passing the park. That day, the couple caught his eye because they seemed out of place. Elegant but weary, his offer was genuine, without expectation. The couple's acceptance was humble. They didn't reveal their background, keeping the interaction ordinary. Edward's decision to reward Jamal came from a place of gratitude. He said in interviews, "In today's world, seeing pure kindness restores faith." The check was just the start. Edward offered internships later, guiding Jamal toward success.